And that's going back to group conscience. So as after 2012, you're not going to have any motions from the regions anymore on the floors. But we can change that. If we have another level of service between the regions and the conference to take care of business here in the United States, we can call the United States Service Conference. And it could go there for group conscience for U.S. issues. And I believe that's very important. I believe it's very important that we do things like that. But another thing that has destroyed our fellowship, in my opinion, and I know what opinions are, everybody has them, is disbanding the Literature Committee. Literature Committee stopped, I'd say, it wasn't disbanded around 88, but it stopped becoming a functional committee around 88 and disbanded in the early 90s. Now, why is that so important? We're still getting literature. The literature that is coming out today has been written by a professional writer. It's not our literature, even though some input was put into it. In the old days, addicts could write literature for addicts by addicts. No big expense, no thing. So maybe the process is a little bit slow. If you want to call writing the basic text in about 2.5 years slow, I think it's a pretty good deal. And by the way, when the text was written, it didn't take any funding from the World Service Office because there was none. They raised their own money. See, we can go back to writing literature again, addicts for addicts. And the newcomer comes in and gets all excited. Because you see, when the text, while they were writing it, Narcotics Anonymous doubled 3 times in a row. Because addicts got in, they got excited about being part of literature, that their idea can be put in print. Over the last 7-8 years, Narcotics Anonymous in the United States has been shrinking, even though it has grown worldwide. Why? Because you're not excited anymore. Get the newcomers involved in writing literature. You don't have to be a writer, you just have to have an idea. We have enough writers in there who can take your idea and put it on paper. And again, we'll start to grow in the United States. I love the Fellowship of Narcotics Anonymous, and I am not anti-NAWS or anti-World Service Office. I am pro-Narcotics Anonymous. They do have a function. They still need to be there to sell literature. They still need to be there to handle world literatures. But today, the addicts in the United States must take a stand and say, if it's going to be, it's up to me, individually. We need to take the fellowship and let it grow again. Yes, Narcotics Anonymous is growing every year worldwide. But what's happening in the United States? I know Iran needs a fellowship. Over through their culture and the way the thing is, it's a closed fellowship. They have people, government monitors at every meeting. And I say that's great for people in Iran because that is the only way that they can recover. But I don't live in Iran. I live in the United States of America. And I live in a free society. And I want to go to an NA that allows me to have group conscience, what the traditions promised me. You see, the traditions was not there just as a joke. They were there so that I can protect me from me. And that's a very important thing. So again, if you think I'm anti-NAWS or anti-world, no, I'm not. But I'm pro-Narcotics Anonymous. And if you really love this fellowship the way I love this fellowship, and you want to see it grow again, and you want to be part of it, and you want that initial excitement that we had back in the 80s, allow it to happen. You're the solution. I'm a crusty old man. I don't know how many years I'm going to be on this earth again. I hope for a while, but I don't know that. But you are the future of Narcotics Anonymous. Take the reins and drive this fellowship back to a growing thing. Yes, people are getting clean in Narcotics Anonymous and recovering, but we can recover 3 to 4 to 5 times more people than are recovering today. We can have a Narcotics Anonymous where you're part of it, and you're the most important person, as the tradition says. Don't let the tradition go by the way. Learn the 9th tradition, the inverted pyramid, where at the bottom, we invert the pyramid. The individual member is the most important person. Then the group, then the area, then the world. You see, the world is at the bottom of the pyramid. This is not a business. This is not a corporation. The corporation is separate from the fellowship. You see, the addict expects the group to be responsible to him. And the groups expect the area to be responsible to the groups. And the areas expect the regions to be accountable to them. And the world is the bottom of the rung. Let's take our fellowship back. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. I'm not talking about revolution. I'm not saying the redcoats are coming. But what I'm saying is we're shrinking. And I don't want to be the invisible shrinking man. I'm sure most of you are familiar with that movie. I want to see Narcotics Anonymous become a giant in the recovery field. I'd like to thank you for the few minutes that you allowed me to share with you, and I hope you love this fellowship the way I do. Thank you.